Greetings, fellow Toriyama fans. Blue Dragon 5 here.
And Jacob Weil.
To pay tribute to the master of manga, Akira Toriyama, and celebrate 40 years of Dragon Ball proper, we're going through the animated saga that is Dragon Ball to get back in touch with our anime roots as we begin our journey into Dragon Ball.
Oh, yeah. This is a big one, Dragon, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I never really imagined. Things kind of took some interesting turns with this one, but we decided, we got to do it right. We got to do it proper. Dragon Ball means a lot to us, so we wanted to, give it. We didn't want to cram it all into one conversation. We decided to kind of turn into kind of a massive event, because basically we kind of discovered that serendipitously, the major arcs of Dragon Ball, and well, maybe things beyond Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball kind of breaks down essentially into 7 arcs or sagas, if you will, and just kind of felt, like why the heck not? If we're gonna like doing like kind of 7 chapter markings in one big conversation, let's do it proper. Let's do 7 parts. Let's talk about it at our leisure. Let's get nostalgic here, man.
Kind of a saga in its own right.
Yes, we're seeking out we're seeking out the Dragon Balls of our nostalgia and self discovery here.
Oh, yes, we're journeying into Dragon Ball.
Yes, so again, to start off proper, we are talking part 1, the Emperor Pilaf saga. Now, Jacob, overall with Dragon Ball, but specifically the Pilaf saga, I'll start off. The original Dragon Ball is always very special to me. Growing up, I had Pixar and I had Batman the Animated Series, and this is at an era before Batman the Animated Series was like widely available. This is before we had the box sets with the entire season of Batman the Animated Series, and you had your VHS tapes of maybe a few of the volumes, which I mean technically they eventually made their way to DVD, but it wasn't like as easy as it was now. This was like before '06 when we started getting those. So, I had there was a period of my life where I did not really have Batman the Animated Series at my fingertips, and it was kind of like it kind of left me before it found me again. So it was a wide gap of time, and in that time, really filling that void for me was Dragon Ball on the Cartoon Network during the kind of the Toonami era. I want to say
During
and,
during the 2002 Funimation dub.
yeah. So it really, I watched it as a kid, and I was sucked into the adventure of it. It was probably my first anime. I remember taping it specifically the Emperor Pilaf saga. I religiously taped because I as a kid and still to this day when I look back on it, I keep thinking like I was so hyped to see like man we got to summon the dragon. We got to see what it's like when we we actually do because it's this big event and it's like the journey. Like, well, they're collecting all these balls and they're going to do something when we get them all together. And that was like the big tease that I wanted to see. That was like event television for me.
Oh, yeah.
And I think as a kid, Goku was very identifiable. He was very much. We all as kids like identified with Goku, and that was kind of our in for the adventure. We saw ourselves in the protagonist's shoes as kind of like him, kind of venturing out into this kind of this interesting, kind of funny world. And I think we all at some point in our lives we had a bit of a karate phase, and Dragon Ball was kind of my foray into that briefly.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, the Pilaf saga. Looking back on it, it's the fun adventure that started all. It's very much kind of a treasure hunt of a season. It's got great action. It's got great comedy. Very much in Toriyama's kind of gag manga kind of humor. And again, looking back on it, I really love how static a character Goku is. Like the greats, like the Batmans, the Supermans, the Spider-Mans, all the great heroes. He's a static character that he impacts he impacts everyone's lives in a positive way in this very self-contained first story, which is just really, I think, speaks to the strength of the Pilaf saga. Which again, we obviously surpassed it. We go all over the place, do a lot of really cool, exciting things, but there was always a lot of gratitude for the Pilaf saga and how it kind of was kind of laid out. You know what? This is Toriyama's dropping on. If I only get one bite at the apple, I give my best shot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I think I'm kind of approaching it from a different direction because, like, like many others, I was kind of first exposed to Dragon Ball when it through Z when it came to Toonami, which probably is the same thing that many people can say. Obviously, the thing is, I didn't watch much of it, and the stuff that I did catch, I didn't know what the heck was going on. But obviously, it was extremely popular and it was interesting. Like, obviously, I watched other animes like Pokemon and things like that. I was more familiar with that than ultimately Dragon Ball at that point. And it wasn't until years later when I was like, getting into it, getting into all the animes and things like that, when I remembered Dragon Ball Z, and I actually looked into it, actually found out about there's a whole adventure that I wasn't aware of. Like Dragon Ball, it had to start somewhere. And the sad thing is, I actually sat through all of Z through the Kai adaptation of it before actually going to view the original Dragon Ball. So I kind of watching this thing out of order. if that makes sense, kind of Star Warsing it almost.
Yeah, there you go. It's interesting, Jake, because I've heard other fans have a similar experience where they went through Z. Because here's the thing, with the dub, if I understand it right, the dub for Z came first, and then they went back into the dub for Dragon Ball. If memory serves, I think that's at least one. Again, there's a lot of dubs over the years with Dragon Ball, and I think that's at least for the main Funimation dub. I think in like 02 or something, that's when we went back and did Dragon Ball.
Basically, from my understanding, Z was obviously what put a Funimation on the map and all that,
mm-hmm.
And they went back and did the original series.
Yeah.
And I've only actually started going through it fairly recently, mainly in preparation. I mean, the thing is, I found out this thing called Dragon Ball Recut, which I'm sure some people out there might be aware of, which is it's like a recut of the anime, which online, which cuts out all the filler, and tries to follow the manga as closely as possible. Now, I did get quite a ways in that. I got at least through the half of the martial arts tournament, I believe, for the first martial arts tournament for that one. But for this is my first time going into it filler and all, and I gotta say it's quite a journey.
Oh yeah.
I remember watching it. I was like, okay, I remember this part wasn't in the filler. I mean, this part wasn't in the. This part is definitely filler because I don't remember this in the recut.
Yep.
So yeah, it's been quite an interesting, and I gotta say, this part, the show definitely holds up. I can see why this show became a hit, and I mean, obviously this wasn't Toriyama's first hit. That was obviously Dr. Slump.
Mm-hmm.
Which, funnily enough, I just got to the part where Dr. Slump is in Dragon Ball. So.
Oh yeah, well we'll get there.
Couple more arcs, but yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a while, kids, but stay tuned.
But yeah, so. But I can see why this pretty much cemented Toriyama as the manga master that he became known as. Even in you can call this the humble beginnings of Dragon Ball, with hints of a greater adventure beyond the horizon. But still a good humble spot to begin, and I really enjoyed it. So enjoyed what this had to offer.
All right, so without further ado, let's start breaking it down. So I guess the place to start, fundamentally, is a huge inciting incident of the whole story. The moment, the scene without we have no show, we have no series, we have no Dragon Ball Z, we have nada, we got nothing. It's Goku meeting Bulma.
A young girl looking for the mystical Dragon Balls.
Yes, the whole Z universe relies on this moment of intersection here.
It's the inciting incident of the entire series.
Yeah, it's a great. They make such a great duo of opposites. You have the smart city girl and the naive kid from the mountains.
With the tail.
With the tail.
The bizarrely strong mountain kid.
Yeah, and he attacks the car, and she plumb shoots him, like
Yep.
shoots him point blank range.
Yep. Bulma straight up suits teenage like preteen Goku within the first 5 minutes of the entire series.
Thank God he's secretly a Saiyan. Thank God.
And yep. And even then, who knows like how indestructible he would be at that point too.
That's true.
And at that point, nobody would know he was a Saiyan for like another like 5 to 7 years.
Exactly. I mean,
At that point, Toriyama didn't even know he was a Saiyan.
well, here's the thing, though. I do like that even taking, again, retroactively, it's taking I guess unretroactively, taking the Saiyan out of the equation. I mean, our reveal, just again, taking this season, this saga as a self-contained story, as in, like, let's say hypothetically we never saw the rest of it. Clearly, we were at least at a bare minimum, we were at least going to see, like, he was going to get trained by Master Roshi. That's at least that he knew that much of where he was going. But assuming assuming it just ends essentially where it ends, we have a rationale for like why Goku is so strong and indestructible. He's secretly essentially a werewolf in the form of a great ape.
Yeah, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, so I love it. There was like kind of a built-in explanation, even in the short term, for like, okay, why is this kid so strong, and why the heck does he have a tail? So
but we also learned that he's living on his own, but he's missing his grandfather.
Yeah, so the heart of Goku as a character, I think, for a lot of people, and I think just looking back on it, is Goku is, he's this happy kid. He was raised right by, his grandpa Gohan. And, there's...
Which is then also there's just the name for rice, and also including the words for different meal periods of the day in Japan.
So we should also probably mention Toriyama gets really hungry when he writes.
It's like all the characters are named for food, drinks, vegetables, or in some cases underwear.
Or lingerie, if you want to be fancy about it.
Yes.
Anyway, so I mean, because he was raised by Gohan, Goku's got this. He's got a pure heart. He's very innocent, which leads to a lot of fish out of water comedy, which again pairs really well with Bulma being the smart character that she is. Going up against essentially this lunkhead kid who, again, sweet as can be. He couldn't be nicer and just more innocent, but just oblivious and naive as he is. And all that we compensate for that, where again, it's kind of like it's a really good moral at the end of the day. Like if you're really pure of heart, you can. It's kind of like the strength that you'll really have. Like if you really are a moral, nice person, you could be as strong as Goku. Is kind of the I think fundamentally, I think it's kind of a decent moral, at least in a roundabout way, to kind of expose it to the young reader, the young viewer.
Plus, it creates kind of like a blank slate. And despite Goku being a static character, that doesn't mean he doesn't have a personality.
Oh, sure, and also I do like that there's kind of like almost like kind of a Muppet movie parallel to it's like Kermit the Frog's just kind of like he's like playing the banjo in the swamp aimlessly. He's docile. Nothing's really really depressing or anything. But there is a longing. There's a lack, and when he finds out there's a bigger world out there, it kind of like puts things in perspective. So when we meet Goku, again, he's got a very kind of lonely existence. He's not sad about it, but he's just kind of he's guarding a 4-star Dragon Ball.
He's just basically guarding the ball, which he believes is his grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
He's just going around fishing with his tail. Working out.
He's just eating, training, and guarding the ball. That's all he's doing. It's kind of lonely. So I do love that,
But you can tell he finds it fulfilling.
No, for sure. I'm not saying again, it's not a sad thing there. I mean, it's sad in the grand scheme when you learn why he's doing this, why he's kind of like alone, why all that. But
we don't learn why he's alone until like 12 episodes later.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I really do like. I kind of like how it all dovetails back like that. And then in the meantime, I do really like that Bulma arrives and kind of enriches the kid's life. But I like that it's not purely out of the goodness of her heart, though.
She's basically just trying to scam him out, almost borderline con or scam him out of the ball.
Yeah, and again, it kind of shows the whole, the purity of the naivete versus, Bulma has an agenda. She's manipulating Goku with her plan, which is it's not evil, but it's definitely manipulative. It's like she'll take him along, like, hey, I'll give you, an adventure, kiddo. Come along with me, we'll it'll be a lot of fun. Of course, not telling him that I'm going to use your ball to make my very selfish wish.
Yeah, and speaking of her first wish, the wish she's planning on is the perfect boyfriend.
Yes, she wants the perfect boyfriend.
Yep.
Yep. Again, of all this, again, very of all the stupid wishes.
Yep. Well, you could definitely say she gets a good boyfriend later on.
Yes, yeah, that she does. If a boyfriend that'll that'll tear down half the universe if she gets slapped.
Yep. That's her. That's his Bulma.
Yes, it is, but he hasn't shown up yet, so shush.
Yes, he doesn't show up for like 100, like over 100, like and 20 more, like 100, like 70 more episodes.
Yep. Okay. Regardless, adventure bonds them together, and it's also a really nice moment, like the end of our pilot, essentially, where
He gets kidnapped by a pterodactyl.
yeah, and Goku saves her from essentially a really mean bird.
Yeah, dinosaurs exist in this world, by the way.
Not just dinosaurs, sentient dinosaurs. Like imagine like the show Dinosaurs, but more menacing
Yep. And
and
like,
capable of flight.
and a lot of the stuff with Goku is established early on. Like he already has his power pole.
Yep, he's got the power pole. He's got the 4-star ball, and he's very durable, and he can take care of business.
He doesn't want to part with it, so that's the reason why he travels with Bulma.
Yeah. So again, our premise has always been really solid on Dragon Ball. The girl promises him like kind of the adventure of a lifetime, and with kind of the intrigue of like what the heck, like how the dragon works, and it's nice.
And plus, remember early on, this is a gag series, so there's a lot of moments that are taken for comedy here.
Absolutely. So we should mention that just to get that out of the way a little bit here. So the whole gag manga thing, where again, Doctor Slump is all gag manga.
Yep.
As in, rarely do you have ever a serious moment in Doctor Slump. It's all comedy.
I've never read or watched Doctor Slump.
Here's the thing, I never watched Doctor Slump except for obviously her 2 appearances between here and in Super. But
Wait, she's in Super. Wait,
yes, she very memorably is in Super. You would not believe me if I told you what happens there.
Aurelia's in Super? Huh.
Yes, she is in Super.
Huh, nice.
And you would not believe me if I told you what she was.
Well, I'll have to check it out.
Anyway, but I did read some of the Doctor Slump manga because I was reading basically concurrently with basically after I got into the Dragon Ball anime. I got into the manga, and I've learned. I'm like, wait, this guy's done other stuff. So I got a little bit into the Doctor Slump manga. I don't think I got into the whole series, but a little bit of it. And I mean, I don't remember a lot of it, but again, it's pretty much a gag mod. It's a comic strip, so there's not like a lot to it. So it's kind of funny. Anyway, so point being, Dragon Ball is Toriyama. Over time, he's making the shift between right now. He's making ultimately between this and Dragon Ball Z. He's making the shift between gag manga and comedy to action, and Dragon Ball is the perfect happy medium because it's kind of you have some gag manga and you have some levity for sure, and you also have action. And basically, as we get further into it, we kind of get to the transition point into Z. There is we get action, things get intense.
The important thing to note though is that in Japan, the entire manga ran under the name Dragon Ball. It was only the anime that became Z.
That's true, but didn't they go back and add the Z to the manga, like later reproductions and everything, though?
In English.
Yeah, so
But not in Japan. I believe it's still just all under Dragon Ball.
Fair point. All right, anywho, let's see. So let's talk about a little bit of the. Let's talk about some of our filler.
It's like most of the Pilaf stuff until later on is actually filler, but the anime actually at least gives us, introduces us to him early, so we know what kind of threat Goku and Bulma are facing.
Yeah, so let's establish the Pilaf gang. So Emperor Pilaf. So Chuck. God, I don't know if I'm. Here's the thing. It sounds a lot like He-Bear, but He-Bear is a completely different familiar face in the Dragon Ball universe. Chuck Huber or Huber, maybe.
Hubert, maybe, I don't
know. It might be Hubert. I can never get I never heard the pronunciation of his last name, but I know this guy. We all know this guy. So Chuck Huber, getting into some of his later roles, most notably Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho. He, who again is such an awesome, like he's very much a Han Solo-esque kind of character in Yu Yu Hakusho. That guy.
And now he's voicing the complete opposite character.
So that's the thing. You have like one of the coolest anime characters ever in Hiei. This short, like cool customer. Like imagine if you like took Fonzie and Han Solo and gave him like a third demon eye. That would be Hiei.
And then you get Pilaf.
Yeah, then you get Pilaf. So the guy's got range, is my point. We'll talk about some of his other really fun roles. That sounds suspiciously like Pilaf, and also suspiciously like Hiei. He's definitely got a niche covered between those two roles. I can voice no matter a bunch of anime characters using these two voices. Anyway, so he is basically Emperor Pilaf is this little blue, short, bumbling Napoleonic figure.
Yeah, kind of like an imp.
Absolutely, he's definitely an imp. He's got the pointy ears and everything. We don't explain it because we don't need to in Toriyama's universe.
And again, another character named after food.
Yep, rice, I believe, right?
I think it's some kind of rice dish. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's just wonderfully pathetic and stupid character,
who is somehow still able to find a Dragon Ball.
Yeah, which honestly he might have. I forget. Like I know later on we have the radar, dude. They don't have radar themselves, right? At this juncture,
I don't believe so. But
I'm thinking later on. I know for a fact they get a radar later, but I don't think they have it yet.
I think they might have had something by that point at the castle, but
yeah. Maybe. The point being, they lucked their way into a Dragon Ball, and I remember he initially got like the 1-star ball, and he's like, "Oh, guys, I have everything. I can rule the world now." And of course, without realizing the other 6.
You have Mai and Shu basically remind him you need the other 6 balls.
Yes, which by the way, just kind of are very simple. The other thing as a kid for me, and I'm sure it's like with you in premise as well, is just the idea that you collect all 7 balls, such a specific number. It's like not too much, not too little. Collect all 7 balls, and you summon the dragon. You get any wish you want.
As the English song goes, find all 7 balls you find, the dragon is set free.
Yep.
I love the English. I love both songs really, but obviously the English dub song is great.
Oh yeah. Anyway, yeah. So so he wants to rule the world. Him and his flunkies, Mai and Shu. We have basically our Shu is basically kind of like a stooge fox ninja, and we have poor Mai just putting up with Pilaf, and we kind of get into some.
Well, to be fair, Shu also puts up with him as well. Like they're both technically kind of smarter than him, but they also have to work for him.
Yeah, but aside from just for comedy purposes, we have moments where like Mai's is collectively like scared of Pilaf and disappointing. But traditionally, though, Mai's like she's not. You get the sense she's not always intimidated by Pilaf. You get the sense that she's just putting up with him. Shu though is intimidated by Pilaf no matter what, even though he's obviously smarter than Pilaf.
Well, remember there was that one time he did kind of mouth off Pilaf in the helicopter. It's well, there's not enough room in here. It's like, what was that?
Anyway, so with Mai, I do want to mention this, that we kind of have this running thing in Toriyama's work where he loves to play with height. So we have like the pairings of little guys and tall, smarter females.
Yep. Pilaf and Goku with
Mai.
Yep. Although Mai's intelligence can be debatable sometimes.
That's true. But she's smarter than Pilaf.
Well, for sure.
Yeah. Thinking garden slugs are smarter than Pilaf, but Okay. Anywho. Okay. So we've established Pilaf, and we've had some misadventures. We don't need to go through all the filler in depth until we get to some of the really juicy filler. Which honestly, the filler in season 1, there's not as much filler as we're going to have later on. It's very, very light filler. Like for example, episode 2 is pretty much filler. Episode 2, where Goku. So the main thing we get is that you have this cute and cozy little thing here where I'm not saying this is fun. I'm saying this I think is also in the manga. This is just kind of cute though. I love the dyno-caps. I've always loved the dyno-caps. Me being the gadget nut that I am, as a kid, I freaked out over how cool the dyno-caps were. You push the little thing, you throw it out. It's this whole condensing thing, which I think in my DNA deep down is why I love Ant-Man so much. I love the whole shrinking tech thing. So it's not exactly shrinking, but it is, what I mean. It's like all compartmentalized as kind of like items and stuff.
Oh yeah, and you get like, or you get an early example of Goku not knowing how to tell the difference between what boys and girls are.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So we have the house on the go, and Goku being a fish out of water indoors. And before we get to that, I just love the. I really like the there's kind of like an older sister, kind of like mom vibe with Bulma,
Yeah,
and that she's giving him his first bath and everything because he's been in like the woods forever, and
it's amazing that Grandpa Gohan never gave a bath.
well, okay, he probably did, but for how long we don't know. I get the sense Goku hasn't bathed aside from fish, like jumping in the water for fish. I get the sense he hasn't really truly. I don't think he's ever really bathed until Gohan. Then of course he passed, so.
Well, we don't really know.
Point being, Goku stinks. Not as a character, but he probably stinks until this encounter with Bulma. So,
And obviously, early on, establishing Bulma's like selfish, bratty personality.
yes. So again, as Jacob was alluding to, so the prime example, Goku has an inability to tell the difference between boys and girls, which leads to the rather wonderfully infamous no balls scene.
Your balls are gone.
God, and again, I do love that it's coming from a place of just genuine, earnest innocence, where he's
Yep.
he's literally sleeping in the same bed as Bulma, but not in a creepy way. But clearly, unknowingly he oversteps out of like the curiosity of this shelter, kind of like this mountain kid. Just like,
Grandpa Gohan never taught him any of that stuff.
well, I mean, he was probably building up to it, and then he got killed.
Yeah, but what did he get killed by?
That's true.
We'll get to that.
Anyway, more on that in a sec. I guess the transition a little bit here. Just so I love how we meet Master Roshi because Goku has always been an animal lover, and
And he saves the turtle.
yeah, I love how I've always loved how he saves the turtle. He helps the turtle out, gives him seawater,
and I love how like the salt water is like some kind of vintage wine.
So it's just really nice that he's helping out the turtle, and then he saves him from like the giant bear bandit guy.
Yep.
But it's just this really nice, kind of act of kindness that is rewarded with the flying nimbus, which establishes again Goku, pure of heart, with a visual way of demonstrating that, and also establishes Bulma's intentions that she can't ride the nimbus because of what she's planning to do with the 4-star ball. And Master Roshi, well, he's a dirty old man, so of course he can't ride the flying nimbus.
And of course, and we learned so many things about Roshi later. Like, who would have guessed that at this point? Goku was actually meeting like one of the strongest people on the earth, on the planet.
And again, it's like the Joseph Campbell kind of like hero's journey kind of rule, where basically it's like the rule of Yoda, where you're gonna have like the mentor who initially you don't think is much, but in reality, he's like one of the strongest beings in the universe.
Yep. Think about it, like Roshi doesn't look like much, but he trained like the most powerful people on the planet in the universe. So
that's true. He did indeed.
So, and he's been around for 300 years, so he's picked up a thing or two.
Yeah, which is really impressive when you always forget about the 300 years thing, but yeah.
And it keeps being brought up, and especially where I am now in my rewatch.
Oh yeah.
So it's so the gift he gives to the turtle, who basically made it very clear that Bulma didn't help him at all.
What about the seawater I gave you? She's so wonderfully bratty. And again, little Candace-like, a little bit.
Yep, kind of.
A little bit.
So, but she's looking for a gift herself, but then it notices that Roshi also has a Dragon Ball.
Oh, my Lanta, he's got a Dragon Ball. So let's, real quick. I love how the progression again was we only have like 13 episodes in this season, which again we really do use the 13 episodes to the fullest here. And in that,
when we do say season, we mean arc.
I know every time I'm seeing also there's Saga, arc, and season. It's all essentially the same thing. I know here's the thing, Jacob. After this saga, after the Pilaf arc, Then we get into the whole thing where the way they break up the DVDs, kind of there's carryover, and that's where things get complicated, and that's where we actually have to say sagas and everything. I'm just saying this is like the one exception. This one actually really is like a full on. This is like the full season.
Yeah, no, 13 episodes standard. 13 episodes really is kind of like a standard anime season, so okay, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, which again, I really do. I seriously, I really do appreciate that. And this is like this season, this arc is the thing that none of the other ones have. Where it's just very clear cut, very well paced, and
Self
just we
kind of self-contained.
exactly. Anyway, so with that, with the first story really kind of laying out how the Dragon Balls work, and we have to find them. We find them very economically, almost like kind of finding the Infinity Stones in Endgame, if you will, in Infinity War and Endgame.
But yep, so Bulma spots that Master Roshi has a Dragon Ball of his own.
Yeah, she starts off with 2, finds Goku's, that's 3, and then we have Roshi's, that's 4. We're almost there.
Like, oh, halfway there.
Yeah.
Like,
wait, I got the left side of the screen right now.
but he's not willing to part with it for nothing.
No, he wants something in exchange. So Master Roshi, he would like to see the attractive blue-haired girl's underwear.
Yep, pretty much. And
Yeah.
purple in the manga, but yeah.
Yeah, so that's always like that weird, it's always that weird thing. Because to me, Bulma's hair will always be blue, but I'm sure to a lot of people it was purple who read the manga first.
I mean, to be fair, you can only really tell on the cover pages where there's.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like a black and white manga. It's like he had. I think Toriyama just said, "Okay, I'll pick a color," and without realizing, well, maybe blue would look better animated. Yeah, it does look better animated. And well, what if she had a son? Okay, let's go back to purple.
Yep.
It's like, well, it's a dark-haired father, so maybe it deepens a little. I don't know colors. Just do it.
Yeah, who doesn't make it? It's like we don't care, do we, Dragon?
No, we don't care.
Unfortunately, I don't have the sound effect for that. But pull it up.
Darn it!
I mean, I have it in another thing, so I'll pull it up now.
Okay. Anyway, so what was I getting at? All right. So we should. So okay, we're just gonna mention it really once here because we're gonna revel in it because why not? And again, there's nostalgia to be had there. Just so with the gag manga principle, so Toriyama again making the shift between the kind of balance of comedy and action. We have a nice blend of it here this season, and that said, pervy Master Roshi. The humor is funny, but admittedly, maybe didn't age the best. But again, here's the thing: the gag manga principle is very much targeted towards the youth demographic, but also like the teen boy demographic. It's kind of the horror movie principle, like why do we have all the nudity in the Jason movies? Well, because teen boys love movies. That's essentially what that is. That's what all the old horror professionals would tell you. That's TNA sells, and at the very least, Toriyama is kind of framing it. Well, TNA can be really funny at times, especially if you have a pervy old master character, which we do, and we get a lot of that with Roshi here. So it works.
And we do, and also the fact that Bulma has no idea that Goku unknowingly swiped her protection,
which is what makes it funny versus the problematic thing. I would attest. Where everyone's gonna bring up the whole age thing, but you know what? It's like the Disney princess rules that it doesn't matter at the end of the day. No one really can tell anyway. It's the way we have voice actors who are way over. Before this is like a pre-Moana era. Okay, we just cast like women in their 30s or late 20s as these princess characters, and we animated them to reflect that. It's the same thing here.
Yep. I mean, I don't have a. So, like I said, so Bulma had no idea that she was unintentionally going commando.
Yep, which is just priceless.
And so when she shows Master Roshi, he's getting an eyeful.
That he is. He got the best end of that deal. Well, he got the front end of that deal too. But we the audience get the back end. He got the front end.
And he lost a lot of blood.
Yes, he did. That's the thing. But there's always so much blood lost with Master Roshi, but never in the ring. You'll notice.
So far, we've lost more blood from Master Roshi being a pervert than anywhere else in the show so far.
Dragon Ball is secretly the bloodiest show you'll ever see, but not for the reasons you think.
Yeah, but so he hands over the ball, and then and Goku on the Nimbus, now transportation of his own.
Bulma's happy. My favorite gag. Okay, I don't know if it made you laugh as much as it did me. Always the gag was looking back on it. Bulma's so happy, just to have the ball, and like, yeah, I'm so much closer to my dream of the perfect boyfriend. She then like just like gives him another one for the road without without realizing.
Yep.
Oh god, it's
Yeah.
priceless.
And then when they get back to the mobile, it's a literal mobile home if you think about it.
Well, yeah, you're right. It is.
Think about how convenient it would be if you just like, oh, you just want to move your house, just pop it in a capsule and then move to a different location.
Again, I love the dyno-caps are so perfect in that way, and we have like vehicles and housing and water and all that. It's great.
Oh yeah, but when they get back to their home, Bulma finds something on the ground.
Yeah, she finds her underpants, and yeah, and Goku just mentions casually he took them off, and well, she shoots him a bunch. Doesn't kill him because we've established he's bulletproof, but he's learned a lesson. I at least somewhat learned a lesson.
Yep, 2 episodes in and she shot him twice.
To be fair, the second time was warranted, though.
Okay, 3 episodes in, but yeah.
Yeah.
She's already shot him twice.
Yep, but it's not just shooting him like once. Like she shot him like comedically with him. It's funny that the more bullets makes it funnier. That's the.
I mean, as we established another character who kind of does that later on too.
Yeah, just gunplay is really funny to Toriyama, and I can't really argue with the results.
Yep, it's like he manages to make shooting a 12-year-old kid funny. It helps because it helps that he's indestructible.
I forget if he's 12 or wait, doesn't he? I forget if we made him 12 or 14 at this point.
Well, I think he's like 12 during the tournament, but I think at this point maybe he's 11. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. At the tournament, we have a gag where he learned to count. Launch taught him how to count, so that's he learned he was 2 years either older or younger. So I don't know if said he was 14 the Bulma. Here's the thing: he either said he was 16 or 14 the Bulma, and then it really was 2 years. So it's either he's actually 14 or he's actually 12. I think you're right. I think he's 12, but I can't recall.
He's currently 12.
Okay.
And so it's like Toriyama managed to make shooting a 12-year-old funny. Like I said, it helps that he's indestructible.
Well, absolutely, yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay. So, let's see. So again, as I mentioned, our Dragon Ball progression is going pretty well at this point. And again, let me hit kind of like an episodic structure with Oolong, which again, I love the idea. It's kind of Incredible Hulk principle. It's the kind of villain of the week almost. Like we go to a village. I guess A-Team Incredible Hulk would be kind of the better terminology.
Another kind of character that's inspired from Journey to the West.
Yes. So, yeah.
Speaking of which, because Son Goku's name is actually how you would read Sun Wukong in Japanese.
Ooh.
Or at least that's how you a way it can be read in Japanese.
Yeah, Goku. Like this thing, Goku's obviously Kakarot. We know is we don't know that yet, but eventually that's how we're going to get like the food in there. But Goku itself is purely journey to the west, which is why we have so Goku doesn't really mean food, right?
I mean, it might have some relation to it, but I don't believe so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the carryover names, and because of that, the one name Toriyama didn't have until again he peeled the layers back, like Kakarot. Let's make it carrot.
I mean, I know Goku has a meaning, but I'm getting the word Goku has been used in other areas, but I'll have to look up exactly what the name means.
Okay.
Obviously, Bulma means bloomers.
Yes.
And Oolong is a kind of tea.
Yes.
So.
Anyway, so like I said, I do love kind of like the episodic, almost like an episode of The Incredible Hulk. We go to a town and I guess honestly the better comparison. I'm just throwing in random comparisons here, I know, but it's kind of like Pokemon. We go there, it's like getting the gym badge. Like you venture there, you have a little misadventure, help out the people, and you're rewarded at the end of the
day. And they learn in this village that is being terrorized by a terrifying monster known as Oolong, the Terrible.
Yeah, so Oolong is a shapeshifter, and we basically Goku, he takes him on. I like that he basically redeems the town's bully in Oolong, which again, Goku, being who he is, and he kind of bringing out the best in people. So Oolong does become a better person by the end of the show.
At first, he doesn't realize that the one terrorizing them is actually the little pig he sees.
Yeah. I love the naivete. Like, where'd he go? That way.
Like, he went that way. Like I love the way he speaks in the dub.
Oh yeah, me too. You know, it's funny though. The Kakarot game. I don't know if it's the same voice actor, but you can't really do what he used to do in the dub, or if they just had like someone the sound alike. I'm convinced it's a sound alike.
Like, and the same person who voices Master Roshi here, I know voices Roshi in the game.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Like
sure.
I recognize the voice.
Yeah.
I don't remember if he voiced him in the original Z, but he at least voiced him here.
Yeah.
All right. I started playing Kakarot, by the way.
I believe Roshi carried over for like the same voice for Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball. It's the same Roshi.
All right. As I started playing Kakarot, by the way.
Are you liking it?
It's all right so far. I haven't gotten very far.
All right. Well, again, that DLC.
I know, but I'm going to play through the base game first.
All right. Okay. So, here's something too, which is kind of. I like how we kind of redeemed maybe a somewhat problematic gag, but again, we redeemed it in the show, and I really like this. Where our big payoff with Oolong is that he's been kidnapping the village daughters and everything. He's been, they never. We reveal what did we reveal, Jacob?
It turns out they were perfectly fine with it. They were actually kind of bossing him around.
Exactly, which is great, and that's hilarious. They've enslaved him essentially. It's this wholesome payoff that kind of sells the story, saves the story. And I think ultimately makes Oolong a lot more likable. Like if he just kidnapped these girls, it's kind of hard to redeem that character, right?
Yeah, but the fact that they were kind of they basically. He was catering to their every whim just to keep them happy while they were there.
Yeah.
Like that they were treating it as like an extended vacation almost.
Oh yeah. So speaking of Oolong, we should also talk about the we have some quality bathroom humor here and there, and this
Piggy.
So this was always it's kind of sadistic, but it's also again Oolong. He did warrant this a little because he's a turncoat. He would have run off. He would have betrayed him at the first drop of a hat before before eventually coming around. So to keep him around, Bulma gives him the security measure of the essentially this. I guess this long-lasting laxative, essentially, this trigger, the kind of this trigger word activated laxative.
They also kind of force him to. Well, she kind of also forces him to come along because she thinks that his shape-shifting powers will come in handy.
Yeah. So again, basically, Oolong's punishment is again pretty much the same thing he was going to do with the marriage in the first place, where he yet again is being subjugated. He's yet again is like now he's a valet. He's like you're at the mercy of the ladies you've tried to kidnap.
Oh god.
There's also a bit of a commentary too on just like men are pigs kind of a thing here, where it's like Oolong was a pig and we punished him accordingly, and now every time we say piggy, he's gonna go to the bathroom.
Yep, we kind of feel bad for him because even happens later when he didn't even do anything to warrant it at that point.
Well, that's the thing. I have to wonder if eventually if it never wore off. That's really cruel. If it never like through Z and everything, if it's still in effect.
Do you think it's something that Toriyama forgot about or just didn't want to bring it up?
Well, that's the thing. He stops bringing it up after a while, so I think he basically I want my headcanon, mind you.
Well, probably because Oolong didn't do anything to deserve it at that point.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. We don't know. We don't know definitively. I would like to think it just wore off, and Oolong was kind of well behaved. Either was well behaved enough that we never had to use it, but ideally, the thing probably wore off after the 21st World Martial Arts Tournament. That's what I would like to think.
It is kind of interesting to see how Oolong went from this gruff kind of the gruff guy who just was forced to tag along into one of the Goku's friends.
Oh yeah, and again, I love that he genuinely likes the kid and he's impressed by him too. He's very much kind of like a Paulie to his Rocky,
Yeah, granted, Oolong kind of falls off after this arc, but he's still there.
That's what I'm saying. He's still around, but you're right. Eventually, I think probably after the Red Ribbon Army I can't say that because after I think that. I mean, look, he's around till the end, but during the Piccolo stuff, that's when he really kind of disappears. He's very much like, okay, I don't really have much to do in this story, so I'm just going to hang out at the Turtle House.
Yeah, and we do see him. Obviously, he shows up several times in Z.
Well, not honestly, he barely shows up in Z.
I know, but he is there a couple times at least.
You're right.
But is he? But he's not when's the series with once everything went to space, yeah,
GT.
that too.
Yeah.
So, speaking of other characters who would eventually kind of fall off, the next characters we meet.
Yes. Yamcha and Poir.
Yes, another shapeshifter.
Yes, it was a colleague. Apparently went to shapeshifter school with Oolong.
Yep, and Yamcha, the desert bandit.
Yes, so again, another example of the lives of Goku's friendship ultimately turned around here, where Yamcha was just kind of this bandit who ultimately, through the course of the series, he becomes a martial artist. He becomes kind of, well, at least before Z, he becomes a martial artist.
Like yes, and when he learned of the Dragon Balls through tailing Goku and Bulma and Oolong, he decides to make his own wish
What
to
is his dumb wish?
get over his, well, it's not really a dumb wish, I guess, but get over his fear of women.
I mean, you could hire a therapist with the money that he stole. He doesn't have to make a wish on an eternal dragon for that.
Well, maybe therapy can only do so much, Dragon.
I mean, come on. Look, it's a funny thing that puts him on the path. I'm saying when you think about it, though, come on.
Yeah, but I mean, think about it. Bulma's
I
looking.
think the commentary is that people wish for dumb things. I think that's the lesson at the end of this. Okay, they all
Especially
wish for
considering
dumb things.
what the first wish ends up being in the first place.
Exactly. That's the gag. That's the long running joke of the. That's the punchlines of the whole season. People wish we have an awesome eternal dragon, and what do we wish for? What do we want to wish for? All dumb, vain things.
Yep. Well, I mean, except for Oolong's is the vain, not necessarily dumb, but
I mean, look, it was an impulsive. It wasn't really. He could have. Had he put a little bit of thought into it, didn't get terrified by the dragon, he might have had a better wish. You don't know.
yeah,
He could have wished for money.
like, yep, he could have, but
I'm glad he didn't, though. I mean, it's funnier what he wished for, but anyway.
yeah.
Okay. Point being, Yamcha and Poir here. I like that ultimately Goku's skills kind of inspire Yamcha to improve.
And Yamcha himself is kind of actually proves to be a bit of a threat to Goku.
Yeah, I mean, he's the first rival that really comes up against, and really, remember Goku. That first fight, Goku was hungry. That's Goku's kryptonite, hunger.
Yeah, pretty much everything he does makes him hungry.
If he was not hungry, he would have easily trounced Yamcha.
I know, but even be at that point, they're also trapped in a desert. But it still does prove that Yamcha is not a force to be reckoned with.
True. So we have the Oolong's camper. We have a dyno-cap. He's got this. I always love this set piece as a kid too. I love like the camper. I love the one. It's a really nice vehicle design. I love that it's like kind of like it was like I think it might have been the first time I even saw a camper. Maybe
you can tell Toriyama likes vehicles because even like machines and gadgets and stuff. Because even in Doctor Slump, there's a lot of. I mean, heck, one of his main characters is a robot.
Well, also I think Doctor Slump. He's also like a mechanic and he builds a bunch of stuff like that. So
including including a Rayleigh.
That's true. I mean, he's like an inventor, but by proxy, I think by day he makes. I think like in Doctor Slump, the gag was he made money by like doing repairs and stuff, but he was an inventor.
Yep, and he invented a Rayleigh. So
his greatest invention.
Yep.
The rock that Toriyama built his church upon.
And that church eventually got wished into existence by Dragon Balls.
Yes.
That was a forced. That was very forced. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, so the camper's really cool. Basically, this is the best way I could summarize the camper episode. It's kind of like it's kind of situation sitcom comedy. It's kind of like an episode of Frasier. It's like the whole comedic misunderstanding of Frasier.
I think a lot of shape shifting misunderstandings and all that.
Just the fact that we have so we have Oolong shape shifting in the Bulma, but like this is before he perfected it. So it's like
it's a very
chibi-esque version of Bulma.
Very short version of Bulma.
Yep, and of course it doesn't sound remotely like her. That's the caveat with the shape shifting. He's gonna sound like not remotely like the person.
Imagine this voice coming out of Bulma.
Yep, but then we have Poir, who's doing a better job in terms of the look, but still, the eyes aren't quite right.
The eye, like Poir's like beady eyes and mouth coming out of Goku.
Yep. Anyway, so they say they hit Goku with like kind of like a drug.
Basically, Oolong and Puar trick each other to exit the RV.
Goku's like knocked out with like kind of like a tranquilizer in his orange juice. I think Oolong did that so he could basically steal the Dragon Balls. That was his plan.
Yep. Yep. But basically, Yamcha co-ops that, and he goes upstairs and sees the Dragon Balls on the bed.
Well, he sees the shape of what he thinks are Dragon Balls in the bed, and
Yep.
this feels like a Dragon Ball.
It's like he's like, but like the Dragon Balls are a bit softer than I imagined.
Yep, and we should also mention before this too, Yamcha. Again, something you might not get in the. Well, I forget if it was in the manga or not. I think it was. Yamcha's just having a lot of bad luck here because initially he peeks through the window and
he sees Bulma taking a shower.
yeah, and then things get worse for the shy bandit. Where again he thinks he's found the Dragon Ball. Squeeze. That's a little too soft. That's spherical, but a little too
Spherical.
soft. Anyway, so then he opens the he rips off the blanket. We obscure a few things, some stars on those balls.
Those were not Dragon Balls.
No, they're not.
Like, those aren't Dragon Balls. I even said those aren't Dragon Balls, Yamcha.
It's real. Here's the thing. I swear to you, I never caught until going back to it. Until like this, until going back to it. Yamcha's eyes. Did you notice Yamcha's eyes when he's looking in a daze outside the outside the camper?
No.
If you look, the pupils are a little pinkish, let's say. As in, if you look at his, especially in the manga, if you look at his eyes, they look a lot like maybe the Dragon Balls he was grabbing. Crazy, right?
It is crazy, yeah.
Yeah, so that I never caught before. Like, oh my god! So I'm amazed they got away with that.
Yeah, he didn't like. Let's just say he grabbed something, but they weren't Dragon Balls.
Yeah, that was one heck of a booby prize. I'll say that.
It was a booby trap.
Yeah.
And
okay,
but the problem is like the boobies were attached to Bulma.
Well, you say that's a problem, but anyway, that's
it's a problem for him.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's a problem for him. I should probably mention too at least once that yeah, Bulma was my anime crush growing up. I won't deny it. Yeah.
Yep, I can totally see that.
I was a young man. Bulma was like, you started. She was like, it was like the flag being raised. Like, you know what? I'm kind of noticing girls now. I think.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean, Dragon.
All right, so the Ox King in Fire Mountain.
Oh yeah, after that, Yamcha till Tamta and Puar tailing them behind still, and of course we have to mention that Oolong didn't pack a pair of extra clothes for Bulma.
Which is, I just love the fact that the one outfit he had lying around was
a bunny outfit.
Was essentially a knockoff Playboy bunny outfit.
Yep.
Which, hey, she wears it well.
Yeah, not that she likes it, of course.
No, but she's dressed for Easter.
Yes. And on the way to the Ox King of Fire Mountain, which Oolong knows all about, like Yamcha and Puar come across this young girl running away from a dinosaur.
Yep, and she almost like fries Yamcha, so he could like basically karate chops her. So
he knocks out a young girl.
Yeah, but to be fair, she had like that. So Chi-Chi's armed to the teeth with that awesome helmet she had back when she was a girl, because she had this pink helmet that had like a blade and could vaporize things completely.
Yep.
So she was rather dangerous. I think Chi-Chi was rather dangerous.
Yeah, she was dangerous before becoming the most powerful person in the universe.
Yeah, and that's going to happen real soon. She's going to become super powerful.
Yep, I still stand by that statement.
No, I don't disagree with you.
I mean, if anybody wants an explanation for that, like, she's Goku's wife, and he fears her, and he fears nothing else.
Exactly.
So who's truly the most powerful being in the universe?
Now, he's going up against Kid Buu, man. He and Beerus, but he's more afraid of Chi-Chi than he is Beerus.
And basically all of Universe 6 and beyond.
Yeah. Jiren, not no sweat. Chi-Chi, on the other hand, please, dear God, no, don't. I want to eat. No.
She has food.
Yes. So,
Like,
so
but we'll get to that later, obviously.
okay. Point being, though, what we can say. So we meet the Ox King. The Ox King is this huge, imposing guy. I love that we
His mountain is on fire.
you'll notice throughout Dragon Ball and especially Z, we do cheat the Ox King's size like a lot. Like in this in the first appearance, he's as huge as he ever could be, and then we scale him back to eventually Dragon Ball, and you can always. Again, this is just Toriyama's having fun with it within the design, but you could always argue it's like, well, he got older, he got shorter with age.
Yep, and it's like so. Who appears at first to be this mighty, imposing figure, tall as the mountain of his namesake.
And everyone here, there's a nice arc with the Ox King too, which again Goku has an impact on. Or the Ox King was a bad guy. He was kind of a loud, unruly king. He was kind of a barbarian of a king. He had this giant axe he wielded. People were scared of him, which is why Oolong had those stories about him. But he's filled with kind of joy seeing the grandson of his training buddy with Goku. So he learns that
Gohan.
Yeah, so he and Gohan were students of Master Roshi. I always loved that backstory with the Ox King, and he's got a real soft spot for the kid.
Yep, and he agrees to give Goku and Bulma the Dragon Ball if they can put out the fire.
So he goes to find Master Roshi with the Bansho fan.
Along with Chi-Chi tagging along.
Yes. So again, so Goku meets who ultimately will be the love of his life.
Chi-Chi, the daughter of the Ox King.
Mm-hmm. And let's see. So we and again, I love that ultimately, the Ox King turns into a benevolent, king after meeting Goku. After his castle is destroyed, which is like kind of a humbling experience for him, I'm sure. Which again, it was kind of warranted from the sounds of things. Sounds like he might have killed people.
Yep. So he if anything, he still loved his daughter.
Yeah. Well, okay, maybe he didn't kill, but he scared a lot of people and he threatened violence. So he was doing bad stuff, but not. Yeah.
And of course, he loved his daughter very much.
He did. He adored his daughter. He was really worried about his little Chi-Chi. Yamcha's in a panic. Oh God! I knocked out the Ox King's daughter. Oh.
Yep. It's like he's not terrified of Chi-Chi because it's like, I'm only terrified of girls my age.
Yep.
Which makes sense.
Oh yeah. Which, by the way, I want to throw this at you with the Ox King real quick.
Yeah.
Do you think there's maybe a parallel where he is the Ox King is Krillin? Like to Goku's, Goku and Krillin were basically like the Gohan and Ox King of their day, perhaps.
Yeah, that's entirely possible, kind of.
Think about it. Had Krillin not been turned around and inspired by Goku, he might have been like, he might have gone a more, kind of maybe self-indulgent path, which is kind of like what his, initially his mindset was going to the Turtle Hermit.
Well, maybe. That's entirely possible.
Yeah. Okay, so Chi-Chi.
So Chi-Chi and Goku meet. She's able to ride on the Nimbus cloud.
I'm always tickled pink by Chi-Chi. She's adorably shy and also trigger happy.
Yep, she's always trying to come up, and of course they don't get off on the best foot because Goku does his check on her.
I appreciate the wordplay there, but yes,
he does his check, but yeah.
Yep, I love that Bulma kind of like a disturbance in the Force. Bulma can kind of sense that Goku better be on his best behavior.
And then he's like tapping Chi-Chi.
Yeah, and she appropriately, and again, this is the most appropriate of all the times it's happened. The comedy on this is just really funny to me. She goes eek, and she shoves him off the cloud, but in doing so, he's steering the cloud, so she crashes like into the.
And also. This also reveals the weakness of his tail as well.
Yeah, so we got a little plot point out of that too when he helps her helps her back on.
His weakness,
which Yamcha sees.
His weakness is his tail.
Yes. By the way, I always love the detail that Chi-Chi is also, she's the Ox King's daughter. She's pure of heart too, so she can ride the Nimbus, which again shows you these two crazy kids, they're made for each other from the beginning.
Yeah, it's like it's hard to tell where it would. I mean, early on, it would have. I mean, obviously, we have all the power of hindsight, but at this point, it would be hard to tell that that girl would eventually become Goku's wife.
Yep.
She just seems to be this odd girl with a magic helmet who slaps Goku.
It's kind of
but,
crazy.
but she does blush at him, so she does. The early hint of a crush is there.
I love that so much. It's just it's like, yeah, Goku's he's a little boorish here, but she's
She's kind of charmed by him.
she's absolutely charmed by it. And again, they're both kind of like, I like that they're both kind of adjacent to the mountains too. Like she's more in a mountain village. He was just more like a mountain to himself. So there's like peaks and valleys.
Yep, she's charmed by him. He's like obviously his kindness, his strength, and all that.
To paraphrase Creature Commandos, they're getting along like a house on fire, or in this case, a mountain on fire.
Yep.
Okay, so also we have this gag too, which we call back later, by the way. That Yamcha initially before Goku shows up, he tries saving face with Chi Chi, and he's basically like flirting with her.
It's like because I love you, and she's like, oh gosh,
two men.
He's just like two boys in one day. Of course, it's clear that Yamcha doesn't mean it at all. But he's just trying to smooth things over after he knocked her out.
Yeah, because you hit the ones you love.
Well, I mean, Bulma definitely does.
True.
And so does Chi Chi. So yeah, bit of a double standard there, but.
Oh yeah. Okay, so Master Roshi turns out he spilled grape. I think it was like grape juice. I mean, you tell me. What is it? Did he spill like grape juice or just juice on the Bancho fan?
I think it was grape juice. Yeah, and he had it sent to the cleaners.
God, so again, they're doomed. The Bancho fans. So Master Roshi's gonna have to do it himself, and he takes. I've always loved this. What does he take to get there, Jacob?
The spinning turtle.
Yes, the flying Gamera.
The flying, which you know the movie Monster Gamera, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. I was always like, as a kid, like, oh my god, it's Gamera.
Yep, that's literally what happens in the movies too. And so he's like, he goes by Goku and Chi-Chi return down the Fire Mountain by the flying Nimbus, but Roshi arrives spinning on a giant turtle.
Yep. All right, so they arrive, and Master Roshi, for the first time, we see, again, just the power that Master Roshi is capable of.
At first, we think he's probably going to summon some giant wind to blow out the fire.
He's got something better than wind. Well, actually, not better than wind, because it really backfires at the end of the day. But he does something really impressive, though. He does the proper mastered Kamehameha waves. All of his key energy, all of his energies kind of hulks him out, and he basically fires it. He directs and fires it at the mountain to put out the fire.
He literally destroys the mountain.
Yeah, you get a sense it's been a while since Master Roshi's really had to do that.
Yeah, but it put out the fire.
Which, by the way, a little bit of continuity there, where Master Roshi, after that, he is a little more mindful about how strong to make the Kamehameha waves, which, again, factors into a bit with Tien Shinhan when we get, to a moment later on.
I haven't actually gotten to that part of my review.
I know, we'll get there. It's a really cool bit, trust me. Like, we have, him, there's a warning about the Kamehameha wave. We'll get there.
It's kind of interesting how the first two arcs are like this arc is 13 episodes, maybe I think the martial arts tournament is 16 episodes. If you count the episode with Nam at the end.
Yeah, I would count that as just an epilogue, so yeah, I would count it.
But the Red Ribbon Army is over 30 episodes.
Well, yeah, and technically it doesn't get wrapped up with the way in which we're going to be breaking it down, so,
Yeah. So, Master Roshi and straight up destroys Ox King's house.
But again, the Ox King had to be humbled a little bit there. But I love Master Roshi before he puts out the fire. He says hey, you better promise me not to stop terrorizing these poor people. Yes, Master. He's this giant blubbering. Yes, Master. He's kneeling before Roshi.
It's he'll always be the student of Master Roshi.
It's adorable though. It's the loyalty. Everyone respects Master Roshi except the women.
Well, there's a reason for that.
Well, yeah, it's warranted. I'm just saying. Doesn't mean it's not true. And
even then, sometimes the respect wanes with his students when that happens.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, So Goku, this is an important thing with his character. He's a very quick study. He learns. So it took Roshi, I think, 30 years to master the Kamehameha wave, and Goku picked it up. And I'm not going to say 30 seconds, but
Just
roughly.
basically by watching.
Yep, by watching in maybe 13 minutes.
Yep. But we need to talk about Roshi's payment.
Oh God, yeah. So, yeah, folks. As we go forward, again, Toriyama again with the action kind of becoming more in focus. We kind of do a lot of this kind of humor less and less. But while we have it, Oolong steps in for Bulma, and he's mastered the form. And basically, Roshi wants to, I guess the colorful way of putting it is Puff Puff.
Yeah.
And no, he's not smoking, kids, but he's heated up for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh God.
No, honestly, I don't think that. I'm trying to remember. I don't think they actually get as far as to do the. But then again, Jacob, you tell me. Do we cut away from an actual Puff Puff, or is it literally just the flashing?
I'm not remember. I don't exactly remember.
Because that's the thing. I think what happened is he was expecting Puff Puff, and instead, Oolong gave him a show, gave him a peep show.
I think so. Yeah.
Which Bulma was nonplussed about.
Well, I mean, it's kind of his way of getting back at her, forcing him to do that.
Which I love, by the way. I'm on Oolong's side on that one. Where you know what, Bulma, you could have, you poisoned Oolong. You could have been a little nicer to him, just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the whole situation is not good anyway. But
of course not. Anyway, so Boss Rabbit. So while she's still in that Infernal Bunny costume,
and of course, Chi-Chi and Goku part ways. And Chi-Chi hopes to see him again one day.
Yeah.
Which is adorable.
Yep. Which, who knows? Maybe they will, Jacob. Maybe they will.
Maybe they will.
Yeah, I sense a wedding in their future. Maybe two.
Is that a kind of food?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not married. I don't know.
I'm not married either. I'm single.
And hungry.
Well, I'm actually not hungry, but
you want a bride?
Well, I mean, it would be nice, but I'm kind of working on it right now.
Well, it's like something, it's like something neat, isn't it?
I think so. Like I said, I'm single, so I don't know.
Okay, anyway. All right.
So yeah, the Boss Rabbit.
Is Boss Rabbit. So this one's purely Boss Rabbit. I mean, you could chalk up ultimately to it's a stage in the adventure. Ultimately, it's kind of a fillery episode. I mean, I believe it is in the manga. I for the life of me, I can't remember if Boss Rabbit made the cut from the manga or not. I really can't remember.
All I know is that it's like Boss Rabbit's ultimate fate is like inspired by like actual Japanese mythology and stories.
Yeah,
making bunny making cookies or what it is on the moon.
Yeah. Which that's also, I think, in a weird way, I think actually also translates to Chinese mythology too. But it's like a thing where there's slight differences between them, but it's like a similar idea. There's like lunar rabbit cakes, rabbit treats. So that's essentially what they're making at the end of the episode.
Yes, that is inspired by real by the real world.
Yeah,
It's not just something that Toriyama made up.
Yeah,
but basically it's his explanation for it.
Well, yeah, it was really nice seeing him kind of take the lore and just kind of adapt it in such a kind of a fun, gaggy way.
Yeah, but Boss Rabbit, they initially get stuff because Bulma's dressed as a rabbit, and they think that she's part of Boss Rabbit's gang.
So she's getting free stuff, and she thinks, oh, they think I'm pretty, so they're giving me free stuff,
like free gas, free clothes.
Yep. So she basically. So this makes me think it is in the manga. So we do change her out of the bunny F into kind of like the Arabian kind of get up.
Yep. It's like so. It's like so. So we find out the truth. Boss Rabbit turns people into carrots.
So yeah, so Boss Rabbit, he's a really fun, cool design, which is this rabbit with sunglasses on, playing it nice and cool. He threatens to touch people.
Fortunately, though, Goku is able to save the day and trap the rabbit on the moon.
Yep, using the power pole again. The power pole being a solution to problems is something that will come back in a big way.
It is kind of interesting that he didn't use the pole to climb Korin Tower, but he probably could have done that anyway.
Well, no, the rule. No,
The rules,
The rule was
he had to climb the tower. I know.
exactly, did it the right way.
I know, but he's saying he technically could have cheated that way, but it's a good thing he didn't.
Yeah.
Because technically he went to the moon.
He did, yeah. So, basically, I love like the disbelief on Bowman. Everyone's like, "Oh, I took him to the moon."
Just casually, I took him to the moon.
Yep, just like Bing Bong.
Take her to the moon for me.
Yep, and he's made a whole bunch of tasty little rabbit treats, marshmallow rabbit treats
for the children.
Yep, which is really nice. I would like to think Goku took them down because he did promise to bring them down after they made a whole bunch of treats. Because otherwise, Boss Rabbit's dead.
As we find out later. But
twice over. He is dead twice over. That moon gets blown up.
Twice, yeah.
Twice.
But I think, according to, don't quote me on this, but I think I read a comment somewhere on YouTube that like they see Boss Rabbit floating around in Super.
Huh. For the life of me, I can't remember that.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen all I've seen is Super is Battle of the Gods and Resurrection F, and their respective adaptations in the anime.
Yeah. Okay. So,
not much to say about Boss Rabbit, just a fun episode, I guess.
Exactly. So overall, basically the next kind of bunch of episodes, we enter the third act of our story, where everyone is teamed up to foil Pilaf after he's stolen all the Dragon Balls except for the 4-star ball.
Because they kept all the balls except for the one that Pilaf had in a single case, except for Goku's 4-star ball.
So we have to explain math to Pilaf on that for a while.
It's like 1, 2. There's one missing. It's like, sir, there's one missing. So, and Pilaf ends up being kind of surprisingly a bit of a threat.
Well, yes and no. We see what his idea of torture is.
Well, yeah, it's like until that point.
It's so weird. Okay, think about this. Okay, I'm pretty sure this was a filler gag. We had if you break wind in Pilaf's presence, or more accurately, if he accuses you of breaking wind in his presence, he has these devices and he will these arms will come out and they'll string you up and he will threaten to use a chainsaw on you. And yet his interrogation tactic is making kissy face, and I even like kissy, like blowing a singular kiss.
And to Bulma.
Yes, and that's
and everyone's like especially like Yamcha's equivalent it to doing something horrible.
Yeah. Anyway, so we have a lot of shenanigans in Pilaf's castle here. We infiltrated.
The pinball thing was cool.
I know, right? How cool is the pinball thing? So, Jacob, I kid you not. When I saw the episode of Phineas and Ferb, when we do the pinball thing, I was thinking of this.
The season 1 episode.
Yeah.
Did you bring that up during the stream?
Yeah, if I didn't, I meant to, but I think I did. At least I alluded to it. I think I told you about it.
I'll have to rewatch that episode.
Yeah.
No, our stream of it anyway.
Yeah. But at the very least, I meant to. But yeah, that was one of the things I always think of, like when I think of like giant pinball stuff. Is this?
I mean, when they turned the city into the pinball,
Yeah.
The one with the bowling ball.
Yes.
All right, but yeah, it's like I love how Pilaf actually is pretty good with the pinball.
Yeah.
That's the most threatening he ever is in the entire series.
Well, I guess the fact he would have his castle he had a really nice castle before it was destroyed because he had all these fun rooms and special purposes and stuff.
Yep, it's so they get cornered. They take Bulma for torture, which turns out just to be him blowing a kiss.
Anyway, so then he drops them all in the room. They get gassed and they find the ball and they prepare to summon Shenron.
And Goku and it's like Puar is taking solace in the fact that it's a clear night with a full moon, and Goku mentions that his grandfather Gohan just died on the night of a full moon because there are monsters about it.
Well, we want to talk about the dragon first, Jake, because that happens after the dragon.
All right. So Oolong manages to summon Shenron.
Yes, well, Pilaf summons him, but Oolong jumps in because
I mean, I meant to say Pilaf, right? Sorry.
yeah. Anyway, I love the idea that Goku again. He's feeling hungry and he can't really break through the wall fully. So he has a small Kamehameha wave. So there's just enough of a hole bore in there that if our shapeshifters could get through, transforming as little bats.
Yep, and they managed to see what everyone inside the room manages to see what Pilaf is doing.
Yeah, and I love the dragon looks so. How great does the dragon look when he's first summoned?
Shenron, the Eternal Dragon.
Yep, and I love that Pilaf's intimidated, and that's hesitation that cost him the wish.
Yep, even because the dragon even becomes impatient.
Yeah. So Oolong just kind of swoops in at the last second for the hero move there, and he conveys the wish.
Remember, folks, the very first wish ever granted in Dragon Ball is Oolong wishing for the world's most comfortable pair of underwear.
Yep.
It's like, well, because he was like running and he was chafing and he interrupted Pilaf's wish for the world's most comfortable pair of underwear.
Yep. And I love if you look at it, it looks like kind of like a comfortable pair of women's underwear.
and Oolong just wears it on his head.
Yep.
He doesn't even wear it where it would be chafing. He just wears it on his head.
God.
So yeah, the very first wish ever granted in Dragon Ball is underwear.
I mean, it saved the day, but again, you do feel really bad that, oh man, poor Goku, he lost his Dragon Ball for underwear.
Yep, that. I mean, it's better than Pilaf taking over the world.
Yeah.
Let's just be glad that Oolong didn't wish for anything else besides underwear.
Well, but again, I think this would have been money, Jacob, but you know.
But he seemed happy with it though.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It's what he wanted in the moment. He stopped the bad guy, and you know, again, it is. I think ultimately, whether it's just by instinct or not, is like Oolong. I'd like to think, having been around Goku, you know, he didn't make he made a selfish wish, but not like, you know, like a selfish wish. He didn't make it was purely a greedy wish. He just made like kind of a gag wish.
I mean, it's a pair of underwear.
Yeah.
I mean, he wanted the world's most comfortable pair of underwear.
Yeah, exactly. He wished for something simple versus something really like greedy and pig-like, you know?
Yeah, like he could have wished for like, I mean, he even like thought about wishing for like 100 girls or whatever to be in love with him or whatever, but yeah. Goku talked him out of it.
Yeah, so with Bulma, like 100 Bulmas. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, specifically because of Bulma.
Yeah,
it's like she did. Like, thank you, Bulma, for convincing him not to pursue a harem.
Yep.
But like, so Oolong is probably the first hero. Is the true hero who saved the world
with underwear. And no, see, Oolong should have gone on to open his own lingerie business. That's really what Oolong's story path should have been.
Well, apparently he didn't consider that.
I know what comfortable underwear is, let me tell you.
I'm the one who saved the world by wishing for a comfortable pair of underwear, so I know a thing or two about it.
There you go.
I know a thing or two about underwear.
Okay, anyway.
All right.
So Puar is mentioning like, you know, the night. So basically, they're in a room where it's a big glass ceiling. So the idea is like they're in a desert location. So when the sun rises, they're all going to cook alive, which is a rather horrible fate. But that's Pilaf's revenge for the underwear wish. So Puar is like admiring the moon while they can, and then Goku mentions what happened the night Grandpa Gohan died.
A giant monster appeared, but he was asleep during it.
Yep, and he mentions a monster squished his grandpa, but I think we alluded to that earlier. Maybe, I think. Did we mention it earlier? Or is this like the more he mentions how Grandpa Gohan died?
I think that's like the first explicit mention of how he died.
Okay, so I guess it was just, you know, his grandpa passed, and then he mentions like, you know, he was actually squished by a monster.
But like he doesn't realize what's going on, but everyone else backs away realizing what's going on.
This was such a Jacob. this was such a great idea, wasn't it? How great of a reveal is this?
That Goku was responsible for his own grandfather's death.
And the fact that he doesn't even know it, and it's the fact we have this happy-go-lucky character who we all, reveling behind, we're laughing at, and there's this element, this really heartbreaking element of tragedy
Yeah.
in him, and it's just, and I love that he. Here's the thing, Jacob, he doesn't find this out until Dragon Ball Z.
It's I mean, at that point, he's probably more well adjusted to the point where he could actually come to terms with it.
Yeah, but still, it's a horrible,
I mean, not to none. I mean, obviously, that'd be something horrible to realize that you're responsible for your own guardian's death.
yeah.
I think, but yeah. So
again, the fact that we realize that, and we, the audience, like the captive audience, are kind of processing this, and then Goku, like, okay, just whatever you do, Goku, don't look at the moon, and he looks at the moon.
it's like they realize that Goku is the one who is the Goku is the monster.
Which would explain like why he is so strong and everything. So basically, we reveal the whole time Goku's a tantamount to a werewolf, which is it's an interesting reveal. I don't think anyone would have called. Like, why the heck does he have a tail? That's why he has a tail. He's a weremonkey.
It's like, yeah, but as it turns out, the transformation is actually quite terrifying.
Well, yeah.
Like his eyes go all sharp and pupilless. He grows huge,
Mm-hmm.
and and he destroys the room that he's in. Goku became a giant gorilla.
A great ape.
A giant ape.
I always loved in the opening for Dragon Ball, and I love that again. Even if you're watching it for the first time, and again you don't, because remember, the opening of Dragon Ball essentially is only the Pilaf saga. Mind you, I think later on we adjusted slightly, but I'm saying predominantly, it's like we see the climax of the season. So we see this giant ape like with like a building on its head.
But you don't see Goku running. You see the gang running away from it. Sans Goku.
So I always appreciated that, like on the rewatches. It's like, oh man, that is really clever. We don't see him there, and we kind of build it up the whole time. And I just love that he's so big. He's as big as the castle and destroyed Pilaf's home.
Yep, and Pilaf, funny enough, is sleeping through it as well. Pilaf is also managing to sleep through the destruction of his own castle.
And he's scared out of his gourd.
I mean, to be fair, frankly, everyone there is scared and has every right to be.
And again, the great ape thing's probably Toriyama's now. Toriyama having a love of machinery and monsters.
King Kong.
So I think, yeah, King Kong. I mean, we have Gamera in this. Certainly King Kong made the cut, and that is by the great ape form.
Yep.
And again, it's building off of King Kong. We all feel bad for King Kong in that movie. So we all love Goku, and we don't want Goku to get killed.
I mean, we even see Pilaf going after Goku in a biplane.
Yeah.
So
Yamcha, yeah, we teed this up. Yamcha's big plan for defeating Goku is I'm going to use my Wolf Fang fist technique on that tail, and he'll be helpless.
And Goku shrugs it off.
Yep. But we have a good plan here, though. Just this plan of like, I'm going to grab the tail, and Poor will turn to a giant pair of scissors and cut it off, and works wonders.
Him saving the day. Goku reverts back to his to a normal boy size without a tail.
And it's a nice moment, like before he wakes up, where they all kind of promise, like, "Hey, look, we can't tell him. He's going to crush him. We can't tell him what happened."
Yeah.
We also established the whole rule of the Dragon Balls, where I think it's like a year. They go dormant for a year.
And they make a wish, they go dormant for a year, and then you have to find them all over again.
And then we have like this. This was always like a nice happy-go-lucky kind of like. I love the happy-go-lucky wash at the end, where it's like, I'll never have the perfect boyfriend. I'll never get over my fear of girls.
And then they realize, wait a minute.
they're both again. Well, Bulma's such a smart character at the same time, especially in her youthful form here. Kind of a dumb kid at the same time. It's like, hey, but it's nice, it's happy. It's like, look at them. They had what they wanted the whole time, so everyone in a sense got their wish. Poor Goku lost his ball, but importantly, he gained friends and an adventure. So again, he did get out in the world. So Goku didn't come away with nothing.
Like, nope, but he did lose something.
lost his tail, and he's off balance, at least until he can kind of train his body again.
Yes, he lost his tail. He lost his tail, and they just tell me like it fell off in his sleep.
Is that what happened to you, Bulma? I did not have a tail.
Like yeah, like everyone, Goku decides to just go off on his own once again to train under Master Roshi. Yamcha, Bulma, Puar, and Oolong head back to the city.
Yep, and so Goku is flying off to the next adventure with Master Roshi and to train all this potential. And, I love that we visually saw all this potential, so it is kind of like you want to connect the dots a little there. It's like, we've seen how the kid has the untapped strength, and we're going to channel that into something really impressive with the next arc.
And he goes off none the wiser that he just that in a roundabout way saved the world.
Yeah.
Through becoming a giant ape.
As you do.
Yeah.
Not Vegeta, but as you do.
Yeah, Vegeta's a entirely different story.
Yeah, that's a whole like terrifying thing we'll get into later.
Now the question is, do Saiyans become apes on their own planet?
Well, yes, but well, remember they have a technique they can do. Remember that. Well, we see it in Dragon Ball Z. They have a technique they can do to do that wherever and whenever they want. So even if the planet for some reason doesn't have a moon, they're fine. But they do that on other planets to take them over. So they're not supposed to do that on Vegeta.
All right. It's been a long time since I've seen anything of Z, so
they could if they wanted to. Though I'm saying I'm going back to the whole Bardock thing, but.
And keep in mind at this point, not even Toriyama knew that Goku was an alien. So.
Of course,
Yep. So it's like at this point, it's just a weird kid who's also can turn into a giant ape.
Yep.
But then that thus concludes the Pilaf saga.
So on the whole, what do you think?
I think it was a great way to start the series.
Yep, I still got a lot of fondness for it. It's we had a lot of laughs, and at the end, dash of pathos. It's going to take us far.
Yep. So I think it's gonna. And Dragon. I think we found our first Dragon Ball.
Yes, that's one down, kids. 6 more to go. Then we get to make a wish.
Oh yeah. So do you think that's it, Dragon?
I think so.
All right, should we thank the folks?
Yes, let's thank the folks who made a little brief appearance here. We had Little Blue, and we had Code Geass Anime Fan,
who apparently likes evolution.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. Anyway.
All right, so.
All right.
While Goku prepares for the next leg of his journey, so do Dragon and Jacob as they enter the 21st World Martial Arts Tournament on the next exciting episode of Journey into Dragon Ball.
I wish for the most comfortable pair of underwear.
Your wish is granted.